Man United can sign players and they can look better at doing business, but it still doesn't mean on the pitch they're going to play better than Spurs. I'm not sitting here saying Spurs are finished. I'm not sitting here. The window's not done. First of all, they've signed Ivan Toney. All you guys are going to say to yourselves, that's a massive signing. They've improved. You're just waiting for Tottenham to make a big splash. They haven't made a splash yet. They still have a lot of time. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, their transfer window is horrific. They're gonna fall off and finish 8th. That's ridiculous. You don't need that much to be in the top 4 next season. I think your team, pound for pound, is just as good as the other teams that are competing for top 4.
Who are they? Who are those top 4?
Chelsea, Liverpool, Aston Villa.
Oh no, Miguel.
Yeah,
they're not on the same level as us.
Team's
not on the same level as us.
You want to know something?
Will be right.
The thing about Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man United, there's a level of unknown with those teams and the direction that they're going with new managers, new players, and just backroom staff. Where Spurs, as much as you guys don't rate how they performed at the back end of last season, they have much more continuity and consistency in that team.
They're nowhere near Aston Villa, by the way. So I just want to get. I just want to let you know that
they were literally
they're closer to Villa than they are to Liverpool. What are we? Wait, they're closer to Villa than they are to Liverpool. Wait, are we saying that Villa are better than Liverpool? That doesn't even make sense.
That doesn't make sense. Yeah, I'm just saying. Outside of Arsenal and Man City, I think Spurs are in that pack with the rest of
and Liverpool. Tottenham haven't closed the gap.
Next season is going to be Tottenham, Man United, and Chelsea.
Liverpool are no longer in the top 2 conversation. I'm sorry. You need to understand.
Based on what?
Based on the fact that you have a whole new managerial change. We don't know what you're going to be. You're a level of unknown. Until we see you play football, I'm not going to put you back into that category.
So we haven't lost any players. We still have the exact same players that achieved that last year. But now we're going to get all of a sudden.
Were we saying majority of those players were regressing at the back end of last season?
No, who was saying that?
Wait, Igal, if Arsenal got a new manager tomorrow, would you be worse off? Like, would you just not be in that conversation at all?
I think we would be worse off. I think it would take. If we sacked Arteta today, you guys would say to yourself, until we see them play football, we can't say they're back in that title race.
No, let me ask you something.
I think that 1 second. I genuinely think what I'm saying is a fair point. Until we see Liverpool playing under their new manager and them making improvements, we cannot sit here and put them back in the title conversation. Because even when they were in the title conversation last year, all of you guys were telling me that it was a false position.
The overall quality of the squad hasn't changed.
Even if that's what you want to go with, that losing Jurgen Klopp means that I don't believe that losing Jurgen Klopp constitutes a 16-point loss, because that's how far ahead of Tottenham we were.
Usually when you lose a legendary manager, there is a loss. So I'm
not saying there won't be a loss, but I don't think it'll be 16 points worth of a loss.
I'm not saying you're going to fall out of top 4. I'm just saying you're in the mix for the top 4. You're no longer solidified.
No, but for you to say that we are going to be in the same conversation as Tottenham would imply that we're going to finish somewhat similar.
Yeah.
They finished
anybody who's not in the title race is similar. You're competing for top 4.
Well, that's not true, is it?
That's not true. That's not true. Anyway, though.
Because if 2 teams get 100 points, right? Another team gets 90, and then the team in 4th gets 70. The team who got 90 are still vastly different from the team in 70.
I don't think Liverpool.
I'm just using it. I'm just using it as an example to put Liverpool with my club and Spurs and United is mad, because they haven't had as much change as all 3 of our clubs.
1 second. I'm putting Liverpool with everybody else outside of the top 2.
Yeah, and I think you're wrong to do that, because they're better than that. Even if they've lost Jurgen Klopp, they're better than that already.
They will still be in a title race.
Even if you just
1 second, that's my point.
Our minimum
if
third.
you still believe Liverpool will be in the title race, that's what I'm trying to.
Yeah, but why not?
I don't think they're going to be in the title race next season.
They've got the best footballing brain, other than maybe Campos, who's at PSG, operating their football club.
And what has he done?
What do you mean? What happens tomorrow if they go and announce a huge signing?
No. They can still improve their team. Don't get me wrong. Liverpool can still massively improve their team, and this could change my opinion on them. But at this moment in time, you guys are telling me that this Liverpool team, with a whole new managerial back room, is going to compete for the league right away.
Yeah, but their squad hasn't changed.
No one
still
said
got Trent. Still got Salah.
I don't think anyone here has said that Liverpool are going to compete.
One second. That's what I'm saying.
You're looking at it as binary. You're looking at it as either Liverpool compete for the title or Liverpool in the same conversation as Tottenham. I don't.
Yes.
I think you fall in the middle.
Hang on a minute.
Either Liverpool competing for the title.
If you're not in the title race, you're in the top 4 race, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Not necessarily. You could just have a really fucking right. So, Igal, if like David said, let's say you and City have another title challenge which ends with you getting 90 points and City getting 91, for example. Just like it finished this year where there's 1 point in between it. Then Liverpool come third with 75 points.
So you're in the top 4 race then.
And then Aston Villa come fourth with 62 points. Are we in a top 4 race when we finish over 10 points ahead of 4th?
Yes, because you were never in a title race.
But that doesn't mean you fall into a top 4 race because there's no race.
Okay, last season,
you win the race doesn't mean you're in it.
Liverpool finished what? 9 points, 10 points below City.
1 second. Just because you're in a race or you win the race without even being in a competition doesn't mean you're not in it. You're still challenging for top 4. You're not challenging for the goddamn league. Get it through your head. It's the same thing.
Race, is it? I just finished.
If you're not challenging for the league, you're competing for top 4. Simple.
Okay, what do you class as a challenge, Gal?
What I class as a challenge is what Liverpool and Arsenal did for the last couple of years, late in the season. Simple.
Okay, but Liverpool last season finished 10 points below Manchester City and were there or thereabouts.
New season, new managers, older players, teams regress, and we've seen some of their players already look older and regressing. So I'm simply saying, don't. 1 second. Everyone here is completely misunderstanding me. Do you not understand the concept of a title race? 2 people competing for the league. If Liverpool are not in the conversation competing for the league in the late end of the season and they're 10 15 points off the leaders or even 5 points off the leaders in the pack, then they're not in a title race, they're in another conversation, and hence why it's fair for me to put them with the rest.
Yeah, they're in a top 4 race. They've just won it by Tom's logic. If you're not in the title race, what are you in? If you're not in the title race, what race are you in?
You could just end up being not in a race. You're just in a grey area. You just have a bit of a fucking pointless season.
No. If you're nowhere near a title race, if you're nowhere near a title race, then you're leading the top 4 hunt. Unless the title race has got 4 teams in it, then it's the Europa League hunt. I don't know. No, I do agree with Gal. I will say this: Liverpool should be challenging, and the expectation, the standard should be if they don't challenge, it's a failure of a season. I don't care they've got a new manager. If they're as well run as the club and its media and its fans have said they have been for the last decade, they shouldn't be falling apart. They shouldn't be falling apart. The one thing I disagree with you on, Gal, is if you guys have been well run for 4, 5, 6 years, right?
Yeah.
If Arteta was to leave, say he goes and becomes a Spain manager tomorrow, if you're well run and you've built this squad so well, and you then hire a manager who is similar to your guy, maybe even better than your guy, I wouldn't expect Arsenal to drop off either. I'd expect you to maintain it.
You'd expect a level of unknown.
There is a level of unknown, and that's why there's objectivity needed in an opinion. I am objective in the sense that Liverpool may go backwards this year, but my expectation is for them to maintain their standards if they're well run. Man United, when we went backwards after Sir Alex, partly had to do with the fact we had the greatest manager of all time, but it's because we weren't well run. And as soon as he left and his team left, it was chaos. If we would have actually had, imagine we'd have had brilliant people at running our football club actually pick the next manager, structure the transfer over. Do I think Man United would have fallen off the way we did? No. We wouldn't have been maybe as good straight away, but that team could have won the league the following season if it was managed well and the club was managed well. It wasn't like we were up against a team like City or Liverpool of recent years. That Man United team should have been... We won the league at a canter the year before. So yes, Fergie going, you could drop off a bit, but we still should have been able to retained our title the following year, but we were so poorly run. And all of that comes out in the woodwork years later. You see it all. So look, Liverpool may not win the league. They may not challenge. That is absolutely right. But the expectation should be on them to do that. And I don't like all these Liverpool fans that are talking, oh, it's transitional period for 3 or 4 years. No, you've got to try and win or your failures.
You've got win now players. You've still got world-class players. While you have world-class players, there has to be an element of
next summer when they all leave on a free. Fair enough. It's a different world then. When Trent and Van Dijk and these guys leave and all go Real Madrid, then it's a different conversation. But
you know what got him triggered? the conversation that being with the rest means you're with, like, I'm not saying you're with relegation teams, for God's sakes. I'm saying you're with the rest of the teams that are.
You put me in. You put my club in the same conversation as fucking Chelsea. That was where my issue was. I'm not in the same conversation as Chelsea.
Guess what?
We are not bottom of that group.
Based on expectations, no. Based on expectations, no. But what? And based on the quality of your players, no. But where I expect you guys to be challenging for next season, yeah, I expect them to be challenging for top 4, and I expect you to challenge for top 4. I don't expect you to challenge for the league.
Our expectation next year should be to consolidate exactly what we've done last year, if not improve.
Oh, so get 3rd. Is that not top 4?
Yeah, but it's not more of
when
a
did I ever say it's not top 4? My issue was with the
about
wording of saying it's a top 4 race.
So you're arguing over semantics, not my point. My point you agree with.
Your point was about we're going to be in the same conversation as them. And my point was, how am I in the same conversation if I finish 20 points ahead?
It doesn't matter how many points you finish. It's about the league position. That's my point. You're completely not understanding my point because it hurts your ego to be put in the same conversation as other teams that you deem better than. That's the fact.
Igal is right.
He's constructed this argument very well, bro. I can't lie.
Igal is right. If you're not in the title race, you're in a top 4 race. And yes, if you finish 10 points clear of the team in 4th or 5th, you just won the race. You saying
but the thing is, I don't disagree with Igal's point in regards to the terminology. They are in a top 4 race, but where I disagree is us saying that the squads are around the same. That's not what you were saying, right? That's not what you said. I just wanted to clarify. I just wanted to clarify that. Yeah,
I made myself clear. I said you have better players. I said you have a much better squad. You even have a lot of consistency in your team. But the main issue is we don't know if you're going to be in that challenging conversation. Hence why you're with the rest. Simple. There's no need for semantics. I've made it clear all the context. I'm not saying Mo Salah's finished. I'm not saying Van Dijk's finished. I'm not doing that. I'm just simply saying you're not in that conversation.
I think the likelihood. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say because I want to move on from this point, but when it says Nari cooked Tom, there's such an irony in this comment because Tom doesn't like cooking. Doesn't he, David? This man eats the weirdest food known to man. Some super chats here. First one says Tom really wants to hear top 3 race, I guess. 4 race doesn't mean you're struggling to be in it. No, I agree. I do agree with that logic. Or at least I get where Gal's coming from. Such a stupid logic. If the first place team finishes on 85 points, second 70, third 69, and the 4th place 50, what do you call it? Well, that's a one horse race, and then the other 2 teams absolutely smash the top 4 race is what I'd call that. Personally,
no way. No, I'm with Tom on this. I disagree with
race.
I disagree with the Gal's like how he would group the teams. I would just say Liverpool finished 3rd and there was a top 4 race for the last position. That's what I would say. But
that makes sense. That makes sense. Speaking